Hello, and welcome to the Howard Townsell Show, where we teach you something for nothing. Today I'm with a guest, Kevin Gorham. He's with Gorham Enterprise. He is the president and CEO. And today we're going to be talking about some of the great bookkeeping practices and accounting practices small businesses need to endure. Today, I want to welcome you today again, Kevin Gorham.
Thank you, Mr. Townsell, for having me today.
Well, I want to ask you, the first question is, why did you start Gorham Enterprise?
Well, I started Gorham Enterprise as a result of some interviewing I was doing with small business owners when I was working on my thesis statement for my MBA. I noticed that one of the questions I kept hearing, or one of the comments I kept hearing, is that the reason why small business owners had such a hard time recognizing or growing was because of the fact that they never had an idea of where their finances were going or where their finances were coming in. And so as a result, I came in and I just came up with the idea of, hey, start Gorham Enterprises, offer these services to these small business owners.
Now, how long has Gorham Enterprises been in existence? How long have you been helping small businesses perform their accounting?
Well, we started back in 1996. I started out with Gorham Enterprise at that time in 1996, and I started out with one customer. It was actually a cleaners. It was a cleaners, and
really?
Actually at that particular time, you know, they were one of the ones, they were generating a lot of business, but they didn't have any idea of where their finances were.
Oh, okay.
And as a result, they wanted to grow, and they wanted to go to a bank at that time, but they had not had anything written down on paper. They were more so just keeping things in a notebook. So when I realized that and I recognized that, that's when the light bulb sort of went off in my head and said, hey, let me lend my services and my practices to them. That's how I created Gorham Enterprise.
Now, who are some of your major clients right now? Because I know that there are a lot of companies today that, like you said, they have everything written down in a notebook. They don't have anything that's formally in a software program where they can track. It's just all over the place. So who are some of your major clients right now?
Some of the majority of our clients, I have a client that has his own limousine company. His business basically peaks during this time of the year, where you have your proms, you have your trips that people are going on. I also have a restaurant that I deal with. They're pretty extensive in terms of their business operations. Another one of my clients I may have is, but that I do have, is I have an entertainment company. I have a gentleman, he's a producer of his own entertainment company. So our clients vary. We don't have a lot of clients because we like to stay small. We feel as though our success is built on the fact of our clients growing from small to mid-size in terms of revenue, not so much in terms of quantity, but in terms of revenue.
What are some of the practices? What are some of the specific things that you do to take companies, as you said, from a small company to a mid-sized company, you know, and to grow these corporations? What are some of the things that you implement to make them grow? Well,
some of the things we do is we sit down with our clients one day out of the month. We sit down with them as we're booking in their revenues each week, and then we sit down with them one day out of the month, and we just take a day off and sit down, show them how they have generated revenue throughout the month. And then what we do is we sit down and we come up with some analysis. We look at some analysis and we look at some revenue generating ideas as to how they can continue to grow. We also put together a report package. So we're saying, hey, just in case they may want to expand their business that next year, we have reports in place to say this is a good time to expand and this is your target rate of what you're going to need to expand.
I know that companies right now, given the economic situation, companies are struggling.
Yes.
And companies are really sometimes looking for ways to save money and to streamline some of their expenses. What are some of the suggestions or advices that you give companies to do such things?
Well, based on the nature of the business that company is in, we would look at basically how the business is operating from a standpoint of, okay, do you have peaks and valleys? Do you have situations, certain times of the year where it's busy? Do you have certain times of the year where it's slow? And then we analyze that for them, and we look at ways in which, when you have your valleys, which are your slow times of the year, ways you can create or generate more revenue, ways you can come up with ideas to increase business, to keep your business on those people's minds that normally would not visit you during those slow periods of the year. So we are basically partnering with you when you hire our company. It's not that we send you an invoice and you just send us a check. As I've talked to many business owners that have had bookkeepers in the past, and they've said that, you know, at the end of the contract, we didn't know what they did for us. And come to find out after doing their research, find out that a lot of things that they were being invoiced for were never done. So we basically do the checks and balance.
I see.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is a very important question. Why is it that you feel that a large majority of the businesses within a 5 to 7 year period, they fail? And I mean, I don't want to say that they fail because maybe they're just not a good business.
Right.
What are some of the reasons you think these businesses are failing?
Well, some of the reasons are, you know, this is just in my opinion from what we've seen and basically doing research, is that a lot of them fail because they're not suitable for the adaptation of the environment. What it is they don't take into consideration that the environment changes. Technology is coming into play now, but they're not prepared to change with the technology. You got to look at the way advertising is. A lot of businesses now advertise on the internet. And as a business owner, you're not aware of this. You're just aware of generating sales and bringing in revenue. So we look at that for you. We do a market analysis for you. And we'll look at and we'll come in with suggestions like a lot of businesses are now doing business e-commerce. And we'll recommend those type of things to you to keep business flowing during those slowdown periods.
Now, I've heard you in the past say that you consider your company a somewhat of a trainer or a business trainer to small businesses. Explain that to me a little bit.
Oh, you remember that, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, our mantra is that we are considered personal trainers to the small and medium-sized companies.
Okay.
That's our mantra, and that we trim the fat off your budgets. We look at your income and we trim the fat off of it. Some people say, well, how do you do that? It's just like when you go to a personal trainer. You will ask that personal trainer, or you will go to him and say, hey, I want to take a little bit off of here. I want to take a little bit off of there. I want to look like this during a certain time of the year. Maybe you may be trying to go to the islands in June, July, or whatever time. So we're that same type of, we're in that same type of realm or that same type of arena where what we do is we will come into the business when we interview you initially. We don't sign you up. We interview you first. And once we interview you and you say, hey, well, I have a 1-year goal as to I want to be at a certain revenue point next year. Well, what we do is we work with you and we say, okay, well, how do you plan to get there? And so what we do is we come in and we generate a plan for them to get to that point, which means that they may have to sacrifice some of the things they used to do in the past, cut back, but then streamline and be more responsible for the revenue they're bringing in. Because what we find is that a lot of the businesses, they generate a lot of revenue, but the people tracking it are not as responsible recording it.
I see. Now let me ask you this question. That's a very important point you make. What are some of the things that you feel, in general, are some of the practices that are holding companies back? Companies come to you right now, and they know they haven't been doing all the necessities that it's going to take for them to grow their business. You look at their portfolio, you look at their financial analysis, what are some of the things you're seeing?
Well, I'm seeing where companies are frivolously spending money. I'm seeing where companies are not aware of what they're being charged by vendors, by financial institutions. I'm seeing where companies are just not really monitoring their financial transactions. They're just taking it for granted that this is the way it is and not really doing any investigation. And it's no fault of the business owner because he has a lot on his plate. You know, you have to run your business, you have to try and generate sales, you have to try and keep vendors and customers happy. So that's where we come into play. We ask the tough questions of those vendors and financial institutions. And we find out where, after doing our investigation, we go back to the business owner and say, hey, you know, you really don't need this like you were told you did. And they're surprised when they're saying, oh, well, we just, you know, we were told we needed it, so we just, you know, we just purchased it or went with it.
You said you asked the tough questions, and I'm interested to know, what are some of the tough questions that you ask?
I had some of the tough questions we asked, and believe it or not, a lot of business owners can't answer is, what is your goal for 3 years from now? What is your goal 5 years from now?
Just a general question like that?
Just a general question. Financially, what do you plan, what do you see your company at from a financial standpoint 5 years from now? Are you able to adapt with the change of the economy? You know, these are questions that when you start your own business, you don't think about. You just think about, hey, I'm in business today, and this is how business is always going to be done 3, 5, 7 years from now, which is not. The economy is ever changing.
Definitely.
So you have to be adaptable, and you have to be able to adapt with the changing of the economy, from advertising, from marketing, from doing business. You know, we're now in a technological age now where, like I say, e-commerce, a lot of people are doing business over the internet. That's $1 billion business right now. And if you're still, you know, if you're still having what you call a brick and mortar store, and you're not really doing business over the internet, you're really missing out on a large percentage of revenue that's still being generated around the country.
You indicated that a lot of businesses are not doing business over the internet. However, there's a lot of companies that are.
Right.
For the companies that are doing business over the internet, and they actually are, you know, advertising and getting their name out there, how can you reach them and let them know that you're there to provide the services that you all provide? Well,
Gorham Enterprise philosophy is, our business philosophy is, you know, companies will come to us. Once you see, our clients come to us by word of mouth. We're not so interested in trying to generate or gain a quantity of customers or clients. We want clients that will recommend other clients to us based on the fact of our success rate with them. So this is how we do our business. We have clients that have come to us basically from other clients that have worked with us in the past. They've said, yeah, you're a great bookkeeping company, and so you're a great accounting firm, and we want to use you in our business. I just got a call today, as a matter of fact, from someone that said, hey, we were referred to you by another one of your clients. You know, they say you do a great job for them, and we're looking for similar type of work in our field, and we need a company like yours. Would you come out and meet with us?
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Now, today's time, it's extremely hard for corporations to overcome some of the economic problems that exist today. And one of the things that I know as a business owner myself is, you know, you just find the means to produce where you feel that you're going to be profitable.
Right.
What are some of the things that you can say to a small company going through an economic time, or some of the things that they can cut out to make sure that they are generating a profit?
Well, one thing one of the questions, or one of the things we recommend to small businesses is that look to partner. You know, a lot of times the way you stay active in the market is sometimes you need to partner with another company that's doing a similar job, doing a similar business that you're doing. And when you do that, when you look to partner with other companies, that's how you stay viable.
Right.
Because sometimes there may be an opportunity out there, but your company, in terms of size-wise or capacity, may not be able to tackle it on your own. But if you can partner with another company, then that keeps you viable. You know, a lot of times we as small business owners like to be selfish and think that we can do it ourselves. And a lot of times it's nothing wrong in today's market with merging with another company that's doing something similar to get that larger contract or that bigger job. So, you know, those are some of the recommendations we make.
Well, one of the things that I know that exists actually from trying to partner with other people is sometimes you don't have that same energy level.
Right.
People don't produce the same. And so what are your recommendations for good qualities to look at for a partner financially?
Well, one thing you want to look at when you partner with a company is how their financials, are they in order? Are their records in order? You know, you want to analyze, okay, do they pay their bills on time? You know, type of revenue they have coming in. You know, are they up to par as far as just meeting the general basis, the basics? Do they pay the rent on time? You know, these are signs that, you know, this is a good relationship with the company or not. You know, it's not like you have to dig in deep and go behind and look at their stock portfolio. You know, there's certain things you can see on the outside or on the cover of a company to realize whether they're going to be a good fit or not. Yeah. So those are some of the signs we tell investors, we tell our clients to look at.
Now, why do you feel that it's extremely important for a small business or a medium-sized business to hire a financial consultant in accounting?
Well, it's important for a number of reasons. Number one is you want to always know where you are financially. That's the number two. That, in my opinion, is not number one, but number two in terms of owning your business. You always want to know your position in the industry, your position in the market financially. And in my opinion, you know, it's just like in your personal life. You know, you can't do things if your finances are not in order. You know, you're limited as far as the number of benefits you have. You're limited as far as the attractive ability of others looking at you and wanting to do business with you. So that's my overall business impression for why I think it's important to have your financials in order. It's because you always want to be attractive to somebody that's looking to partner with you to grow both your business and theirs.
Now, what would you say are some of the things that has made you to become as successful as you are? You look at yourself. You're very successful, and you have companies that are looking to you to become successful. So in itself, they want to model the things that you're doing. What are some of the things that you're doing to generate the level of success as to where you are right now?
Well, discipline. You know, discipline is very important. You have to be disciplined in your business. You have to be aware of changes. You know, you have to always stay abreast of what's going on in the economy, what's going on around you. You know, what your competitors are doing, you know, what others that have similar type businesses like yours are doing. You know, this is what keep us competitive. And then you have to be genuine. You know, we're genuine to our clients. You know, that in itself goes a long way with the small business, the small and medium-sized business owners. You know, they're always from each side being attacked. You know, you have your competitors out there. You know, you have people trying to offer you different types of credit cards, you know, things like that you don't need. So when you get someone that's truly genuine in helping your business to grow, that's when you will more or less feel inclined and feel comfortable and be successful. You know, it's not so much that you're looking to acquire a lot. You're just looking to build on what you have and be successful at that. And then the rest will fall into place.
And that's important because I recognize that as a business owner, you have to be on point in terms of being disciplined. You cannot go out and spend money on things that you may feel you want.
That's right.
They have to be things that you really need. And as a business owner, you have to be very disciplined. So with that said, what are some of the things that you would advise companies in their first 3 to 5 years to avoid through your experience in terms of, you know, things that you may assume you may need? However, in that short time frame, it's really not important right now.
Well, I would advise my clients to always take a second thought about what it is someone's offering you. Really go and analyze and see if it's going to be beneficial to your company. You know, everybody will come to you, especially when you have your own business, and say they have the latest and greatest of ideas or latest and greatest products to offer you that can benefit your business. But you have to really do some investigation. And that's where Gorham Enterprise come in at. We work with you whenever you want to have a second thought or have someone else to talk to say, hey, how would this benefit my company going forward in the future? And we could look at basically from the finances we have and just say, hey, this may not be a good product for you, or this product may enhance you and may enhance your business going further. So those are some of the suggestions we give is like to our business owners, you know, because you are the sole decision maker, always consult someone else, you know, always consult someone else or get a list of the clients that they have sold to and see how that product has worked for them. If it's worked for them and you feel confident that it will work for you, then hey, why not purchase it? But, always get a second opinion is my advice to my clients.
Get a second opinion is important. Now, let's go into the topic of accounting.
Yes.
What are some of the most important practices as an accountant that companies need to be aware of?
Well, some of the most important ones is, first of all, you need to be aware of being IRS compliant. As a company, always record you always record your expenses, always record your debits and your credits. So as an accountant, you always want to be, or as hiring an accountant, you always want him to be, always want him to be IRS compliant with your company. Because one of the things we find is a disadvantage to most business owners is at the end of the year, their books weren't in order. So you wind up owing all these taxes because they weren't properly charted throughout the course of the year. Your sales weren't properly charted. Your expenses weren't properly charted. So this is some of the most important things we, as an accounting firm, we take into consideration when we're doing your financial reports.
Now, Gorham Enterprise has been in existence for a long time.
Yes.
And I believe that you know as well as I know that it's important that you put your focus on not only the accounting aspect, but marketing,
Yes.
advertising, sales. What are some of the things that you think companies are lacking? What do you think the target thing that most companies, when you look at their portfolio, they're lacking? They're not putting the time and effort into this one thing. What is it?
I would say strategic marketing. Strategic marketing meaning, strategizing where your customer base is. A lot of companies will just buy, for example, buy marketing lists. But that marketing list may be catering to your company's product line. So you have to actually have strategized marketing and then from that standpoint, go forward and see the best results you would get from that strategized marketing. As I always say, go out and interview marketing companies. Interview CEOs and things of that nature that may be coming to you offering marketing strategies. See the results. Look at their track record. See how they have helped other clients in the past and have they had a success rate. Those are some of the questions I will put to my clients as far as remaining competitive in the industry.
Now, do you think that it's a good idea for small businesses to take on some of the financial responsibility of trying to do things themselves? I know that in a small business arena, you have a low capital. You don't have a lot of capital sometimes, depending upon, the type of investments that you have.
Right.
But in the event you don't have a lot of capital and you want to take on the risk of doing things yourself, do you think that's a good idea for small businesses?
Well, I don't think that's a good idea, and that's where Gorham Enterprise come in at. We don't have like a fee structure. We base our fees based on the type of business you're in. Because as a business owner, as I said, you have a lot to focus on. And even though finances are an important part, not everybody is trained to do finances. As a business owner, I would suggest that you go out, you get someone that's trained to do it. Someone that's trained to track your expenses, someone that's trained to give you a financial analysis of your company, give you a breakdown of where you are financially and the position of where you are in the market. I would suggest you do that. I mean, obviously there is a lack of money. You cannot hire a lot of different people to do that. But if you can, look for someone that's good. Go out and ask other business owners who they use. Get suggestions, ask questions of that. I mean, you can always maximize your time and get quality feedback if you just ask questions of different owners.
We're talking about owners. When owners come to you, what are some of the most common problems that they have as an individual that's looking to get their finances in order, ensure that they are profitable for the next year? And do you focus on, and I know this may be 2 or 3 different questions, but do you tend to focus on their taxes in terms of their tax revenues and the different tax brackets that they're in? Do you focus on that as well as an accountant?
What we focus on is their expenses and their revenue. Cash coming in, cash going out. Okay. As far as where you want to be, that's the #1 priority that we focus on. Okay, are you in terms of where you want to be next year is determined based on your business, based on the type of business you in, based on how your business is going from year to year. What we look at in doing our financial analysis is the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows, the times of the year when you're having the times of the year when you're having a good run, as we would like to say. You know, when you're having 2 or 3 months of just revenues exceeding the prior year or the prior months from the year revenue. We look at that, then that's how we can turn, okay, well, whatever you did that year or whatever was going on during that time that year seems to be going on this same time that following year. So this is how we focus on coming up with differing suggestions on how you can stay viable, how you can stay above water, as we like to say, in the industry.
Bookkeeping, accounting practices are important. Would you agree?
Yes.
And given the fact that you agree to that, why is it so important? Why is bookkeeping, accounting practices so important?
Well, there's a number of reasons why. One of the reasons why it's so important is that because, number one, you got to be IRS compliant. You want to know that at the end of the year, that you're paying your taxes on time, that you're paying the right amount of taxes. That's why it's important that you have a good accounting firm in your corner. Mm-hmm. You know, number two, it's important because because from a company standpoint, you want to know where you are at each quarter. Each quarter of the year, you want to know where you are. I mean, you don't want to just, as I say, be spinning your wheels all year long and do not have any idea of where you are financially. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why it's important. And number three, because you have someone looking at your finances, you want them to also be able to offer suggestions on what you can do to increase your finances and decrease your expenses.
Well, you know what? I want to just say this. I think that I've learned so much today that I would love for you to come back again and be a guest on our show. Thank you for coming, Mr. Gorham. Kevin Gorham, President and CEO of Gorham Enterprise. And I want to thank my guests for joining us today. Welcome to the Howard Townsell Show, where we teach you something for nothing, and we'll be back again next week where we talk about more topics that you would be extremely happy to endure. Thank you for having me.